Welcome back to Bride Price, a culture or the new slavery. In this fourth episode of a 5-part documentary that will be aired weekly, MIFUMI brings you exclusive footage of this very emotive issue that captures the views of extraordinary people who have experiences of bride price and of those who have championed its reform going way back to the first National Commission on the Status of Women held in 1965, which produced the Kalema Report on Women's Rights. So, why is the practice of bride price so difficult to tackle? Why are cultural leaders, religious leaders, and the government all so afraid of tackling bride price? What is the main challenge and obstacles associated with changing the practice of bride price?
In 1960, the women met and talked about bride price. They talked about succession and inheritance. And we are, it is more or less we are still in the same place 40 years down the road.
Yes.
So I think that we don't have sufficient men to come aboard and protect us.
The greatest challenge we have is in changing the mindset of people to appreciate that this practice of bride price is actually a form of neo-slavery. Only this time it's the men who are exercising slavery on their wives. It's a long process, but it is one we struggle with every day. It's about changing attitude, it's about changing behavior.
Many feel that we are removing off their power and control because they always have an issue of saying we are removing off their power and control. They call me Onyekomoni, which means that I'm women spoilers.
The most important thing we come across in our work, obstacles. Women do lack a lot of confidence, and mainly this is because they've suffered a lot of oppression and they have to overcome a lot of barriers in order to participate and get involved in these issues. A number of men are familiar with these issues and are willing to help, but many are quite in a state of apathy. They just want to stand by and look. But we see that, and fundamentally, I think there is nowhere where we see this oppression other than under customs. And we come across these cases every day: bride price, polygamy, child marriages, all of these things work together.
The challenge we have is still facilitation and ignorance of parents.
But what happens if even women who are most affected by the problems associated with bride price also defend the practice?
I think the greatest challenge we face is the divide between justice and social needs. We have had situations where a woman will withdraw a case when you're in court because the man is the breadwinner. So she'll tell you, yeah, what happens now? He's taken to jail, the children need school fees, and I'm actually sleeping under his roof, etc., etc. So they end up withdrawing cases. So with respect to bride price, it is actually a bit of a problem of the cultural setting where women are actually disenfranchised to an extent that they even begin supporting the culture itself. We also have situations where a woman will tell you, well, will they just take me like that into a new home? The man has to pay something because my parents actually struggled all the way.
Say the main challenge is the fact that women are not really seen as equal subjects to men. Many names have been given to describe the woman's position, the woman question. They talk about second-class citizen and so on, but really, as a woman, you face it all the time in all the walks of life. So, I've continually come against this barrier where when you're trying to promote women's equality, when you're trying to get people to see women as people, when you're trying to get husbands to look at their wives as equal partners, you know, there's this invisible barrier that just talks about you as a woman. You're a mere woman. What do you know? You're a woman. Why do you want this? Why do you demand this right? You're a woman. Why are you not accepting your position in life? You're a woman. Why are you complaining about being beaten? You're a woman. So much that women have even become, you know, begun to believe that themselves.
It is something that is in the cycle for our people, and getting it out is going to be a bit difficult. I mean, the fight must continue.
Women really like bride price, yeah? The only thing they don't want is the refund. Now, the refund is very easy to explain, but why do you want the demand? This is the only way society allows women to be valued. You know, women are denied education, employment, participation, decision-making in the home. In the village, these women have very, very little voice. So if the only time they can give something back to their parents and they can feel valued is by the number of cows, then they're going to fight to defend that. It is going to take us a long time to even get women to see that, you know what, you can be valued for more than a few cows and a few goats. You can be valued for your education, for your contribution to society, for the person you are.
We have the positive part and the negative part of it. So if that at all is the negative part of the bride price, then I could say that the law should be
Why did MIFUMI take its campaign to court?
Actually, going to court comes maybe 9 or 10 years down the road on our campaign on bride price, which started with a political process, a referendum in Tororoś in 2001, where the public said there must be a reform in the process. This gained momentum and later led to a conference, an international conference in 2004, where we made the Kampala Declaration on bride price. These were all political processes, but one thing that was totally lacking was a framework within which to address bride price. We worked very hard and included it into the Domestic Relations Bill, but as you know, that bill has been before Parliament since the 80s, and so that was a closed door, more or less. So that left us with one fundamental option, which is the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. We knew that this is the law that is supposed to address these issues. Its fundamental tenet is equality of all human beings. And so that is how come we decided that that is the way to go.
What exactly did the petition seek to clarify? MIFUMI's petition to the Constitutional Court was based on 4 key provisions of the Constitution, which we felt this culture violated. The first was forced demand. Bride price as a, you know, this forced demand as a condition violates the Constitution. The second was forced refund. That we also felt violated the Constitution. The third was this interference with free consent in marriage. People, once they reach the age of 18, should be allowed to enjoy free consent in marriage and who they choose as their partners. We felt bride price fetters this free enjoyment. And then finally, the whole equality of women, that women should be seen as equal before and under the law with men, and that women's welfare, dignity, interests should be protected. We felt that was a constitutional violation.
The Constitutional Court ruled that bride price, the practice of bride price in essence should continue, okay? There was a judge who agreed with all the negative practices and actually recommended that bride price should be declared unconstitutional.
At the Constitutional Court, 4 judges against 1 ruled to uphold the practice. What did people make of the judgment?
I don't have a right to tell them that they are wrong, but they are wrong. They are wrong. What they should do is they get back to the ground, sensitize the public, then come back and tell us whether what they've sensitized people are really agreeing with what they are saying. I don't think it's right.
I am not a legal person. They must have got reasons why they did that. But one of the things about moral behavior and cultures, they are very difficult to legislate because they are opinions. If they had a scientific basis, and logical reasoning, it would be easy. But social behavior is very tricky. People will behave differently. Some of them, of course, may have any specific reason. And I suppose the judgment was in that light. These were opinions, and maybe they were judges were not convinced. So it's very difficult to legislate.
I wouldn't like to call their lordships cowards, but I think they did not want to rock the boat, you know, and probably our people are not psychologically ready.
Maybe I would think that some people have not bothered to know what this is about. We had a very archaic law about bride price, and all this case was about is not doing away with bride price the way people, misconceived it. It was about, reforming the whole process so that we don't we don't continue living in that sort of Stone Age world where things are done in such a archaic manner, where the women are looked at as non-entities, where the women, their rights are violated. And it's unfortunate that this happened in court. And although I don't think all is lost, we have to continue the struggle, and I want to appeal to MIFUMI not to feel let down, because we live in a society that is a bit queer. It must have been one of the darkest days that we had in this country and in the world, because I thought that was a very good beginning point as far as human rights observance of the women's rights are concerned, and also uplifting the negative part of our culture.
I take that their ruling was really a vote for continuity of a very oppressive practice.
The ruling was very unfair, and I think their lordships did not take this petition did not give it the weight it really deserved, because maybe their lordships thought that this is a culture which is enjoyable, but I think their lordships were wrong in the way they approached this petition.
Unfortunately, out of all our key provisions, the judges did not address themselves to any of them. We really felt that they trivialized the whole issue. On the issue of forced demand, especially this payment by force, and at demanding very, very high, exorbitant rates of bride price, they never addressed themselves to that. They did not rebut our evidence. We provided evidence of women who were mistreated because their husbands resented the amount of bride price they paid for them. There was no rebuttal. On the issue of refund, I could say that at least that was addressed. And out of all the 3 judges categorically stated that this was inhuman, dehumanizing, and a violation of constitutional principles.
An opportunity was lost. An opportunity to increase protection of children, an opportunity to increase, to afford basic personal security for all, under the law, especially for women. That was lost, and an opportunity for the cultural system and the statutory legal constitutional system to converge and become one and reduce those contradictions. All of that was lost.
I think the judge did it was looked at it very casually. He would have looked at maybe he's also grown up in this generation. A judge should use his sense, because he says constitution, but constitution does not say cannot say 50 cows. The constitution does not say 20 cows. It says bride price. Constitution does not say 2 million.
Don't forget to catch this controversial issue Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Brought to you by MIFUMI and showing exclusively on NTV.